Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Criterion. In this edition, we take a look at Joan Micklin Silver's 1988 film Crossing Delancey, starring Amy Irving and Peter Riegert. Joan Micklin Silver, who died in 2020, was an American director of films and plays. Born in Omaha, Silver moved to New York City in 1967, where she began writing and directing films. She's best known for Hester Street from 1975, her first feature, and Crossing Delancey from 1988. Silver's first feature as a director, Hester Street, was based on a short story by Abraham Kahn and produced by Midwest Films, a company that Silver founded herself with her husband. It was produced on the relatively small budget of just $320,000. And the New York Times later called Midwest one of the most successful mom-and-pop operations in the film business. Her follow-up to this was in 1977. This was well heralded at the Berlin International Film Festival. Filmed in Boston, it fared well with critics, and then in 1979 she directed Chilly Scenes of Winter, originally released as Head Over Heels. This, of course, is in the Criterion collection. United Artists, the major studio that produced Chilly Scenes, changed the film's name and edited in a happy ending, suggesting that market research justified the change in title. Chilly Scenes didn't receive the same warm reception as Silver's earlier films had. Crossing Delancey is an American romantic comedy adapted by Susan Sandler from her own play, and it stars Amy Irving and Peter Riegert, and the film also features Riegert, David Hyde Pierce, Sylvia Miles and Rosemary Harris. It tells the story of Isabella, Amy Irving, a Jewish girl from New York in her early 30s. She works for a literary bookstore, and in her work she gets to meet lots of interesting people. Mad poets, bohemian book lovers, literary lions, and she considered herself to be part of the literary scene. She doesn't quite understand or admit that many of the shaggy intellectual giants she meets are attracted not by her mind, but by her beauty. She has not fully accepted the fact that some men on one level or another are thinking of only one thing, sex, when they talk to a pretty girl, no matter how they may flatter her intelligence. Now, as the movie opens, Isabella is offered a job as the personal secretary of a self-important European poet, Joan Micklin. Now, this is the last job she needs. It's instantly obvious to the audience that her duties here will be more personal than secretarial. Meanwhile, Isabella's grandmother, Riegert, known as Bubby, is concerned for her welfare. Why doesn't this nice young lady have a husband and a few babies? She engages the services of a matchmaker, Sylvia Miles, who produces a prime matrimonial candidate, that's Sam, the pickle man, played by Peter Riegert, who has inherited his father's pickle store on the Lower East Side. Now, part of the film's strength here comes from Amy Irving's incredible performance as Izzy. Irving allows an engaging kind of indecision to define her character, and she's thrown into silly and complicated situations throughout the movie. Irving was nominated for a Golden Globe in the Best Actress in a Motion Picture Comedy or Musical category for her performance. Actress Jenny Slate once described Izzy as a progressive, intelligent Jewish New Yorker who was so bonded to her grandmother, but not necessarily to her cultural traditions. So while Lizzie agrees to a meeting with the matchmaker, she doesn't carry much interest in being set up with Sam Posner. That's the East Side pickle maker. Now, there's got to be something happening between two people. There's got to be heat, explains Izzy, during a back and forth with her grandmother about why she thinks matchmaking doesn't work. Now, as her bubby schemes away, Izzy remains wrapped up in the literary scene at the bookstore where she works. While she's there, she meets writer Anton Mays, Joan Micklin, who frequents the store and often flirts with Izzy. The two of them go to lunch once or twice, and during these scenes, Krabbe plays his character with such self-seriousness that you definitely know he's supposed to be a jerk. It's easy to understand why Izzy is drawn to Maze initially, but where Crossing Delancey gets interesting is when Izzy finds herself thinking more and more about Posner. Now, after Izzy tells Posner at the matchmaking meeting that she isn't interested in attempts to set him up with her friend instead, she feels it's like she's made a mistake. Chaos and mixed signals ensue. And one of the other strong suits of Crossing Delancey is how it indulged tangents, allowing them to shape Izzy's character without always moving the plot along. An era of New York City that's gone is showcased with love as well. Izzy's bookshop always has a surprise in store, and Sandler's script always allows space for these fun detours. Now, the cast surrounding Izzy is just as important to making the sweetness of Crossing Delancey work. Riegert, who plays grandmother Ida, takes her history in the Yiddish theatre world and applies it to a role she was born to play. And Riegert, in his role as Sam Posner, has a straightforward warmth, balanced by his character's outward working class gruffness. Now, music was provided as instrumental tracks by Paul Chihara, and songs were performed by, and in some cases written by, members of the Roches. Susie Roche of the Roches plays Marilyn Cohen in the film, a friend of Isabella, and the Roches provided several songs for the soundtrack as well. Now, the actor Riegert was a well-known Yiddish theatre actor, and this is her only cinematic role. Set amidst the Lower East Side delis, hot dog stands and century-old Jewish purveyors, Crossing Delancey is top-notch romantic comedy. It infuses themes of identity, class, and 1980s feminism with light-hearted yet nuanced aspects of Jewish culture. Now, the release is on 4K UHD, which contains the 4K UHD and the Blu-ray with the film and the following features. We have a 4K digital restoration, supervised and approved by cinematographer Theo van de Sande, with 2.0 surround sound DTS HD master audio soundtrack. The 4K has Dolby Vision HDR, and the Blu-ray has these special features. New programme on the making of the film, featuring actors Amy Irving and Peter Riegert, and screenwriter Susan Sandler. Audio interview from 1988 with director Joan Micklin Silver, a trailer, and an essay by the critic Rachel Syne. And the cover art, a beautiful illustration here, is by Samantha Dion Baker. Crossing Delancey has a running time of 97 minutes, and it's in a 1:8:5:1 aspect ratio. It releases as a 4K Blu-ray combo and also on DVD on Tuesday the 18th of February, a spine 1250. Next week on Let's Talk Criterion, we feature the Gus Van Sant film Drugstore Cowboy with Matt Dillon, coming new to the collection as a 4K UHD. So until then, from me, as always, it's goodbye, and above all, good Criterion viewing.